Hello, everybody, and welcome to Atheist Sunday School, your one-stop shop for everything Atheist Sunday and School. And boy, do we have a show for you today. With us is Chris Hansen.
Hello, Chris Hansen. How are you?
And...
Hi.
Yes, and we have a 100-point show and then announcements.
Yes.
So,
100-point show. I'll get it started. What is the name of the demon that fooled Sam Winchester into opening Lucifer's cage?
Pieman?
No.
Mephistopheles?
Also no.
Azazel? Asmodeus?
No. But those are much
Lyle?
closer. Okay, stop guessing.
Oh, shit.
Lyle?
Chris, do you have an answer for that?
Lilith.
Also very close, but the answer is Ruby. Lilith was actually the name of the demon that Sam had to kill in order to open up the cage. Azazel was the demon that poisoned Sam with demon blood when he was a child and got him on the path that he was. And Asmodeus is the guy that shows up later in the series.
Oh.
But so a lot of very close guesses, honestly. So anyways, announcements. We have...
Yeah, we were in the middle of the
Oh,
100-point
yeah,
show, you
you're
dumb
right.
fuck.
I'm getting ahead of myself. I was too excited about something. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have 100 more 100-point show questions to go. I don't know where you're getting this segment.
Yeah, that was... Ooh.
How many fighters are on the roster of the original Super Smash Brothers from the Nintendo 64?
20.
16.
No. And no.
Damn.
Chris Hansen, do you know?
I don't even hear the question.
Oh. Well, I'll take it as no.
Excellent.
It's 12.
It's 12. Okay.
Well, that's less.
That is less. Okay. No 100 points awarded there. Chris Hansen, what is your 100-point show question? If he hears me.
What are the two names of the underworld given in the Book of Job?
One of them is Sheol, and I'm gonna guess the other one is Gehenna.
Oh, I like that.
I'm going to say Sheol and the Abyss. Ha ha
I'm
ha.
going to throw in Tartarus for fun.
Oh, I feel like that's more likely.
Tartarus. Ministers of the Tartarian seat.
So Sheol is one.
Yay.
The other one is Mott.
Mott.
Oh,
Oh, my
God.
gosh.
Oh, that makes
How
sense,
did I
too.
forget Mott?
Oh.
Jeez.
Oh, that was dumb. Okay.
I've never heard any Jew ever say Mott before.
Well, maybe if you were living a very long time ago. So one thing before we hop into announcements, Chris, you are lagging quite a bit. So it might be a good idea to rejoin the call, honestly. So yeah, while he does that.
Well, he does that.
Yeah, let's hop into announcements.
Announcements.
Yes. We do have a wheel.
We have a wheel today to give away a t-shirt to one of our lucky patrons.
Yes.
And why don't we wait until after announcements for that wheel in case our lucky patrons
Is watching,
aren't
yeah.
here yet.
Yes. So one of the big things that I'm excited about is our video on the Trinity just blew up over the past few days, and our subscribers jumped up. So if you're a new subscriber coming from that video, or perhaps the Nicaea video, or the whole bunch of other videos that got spikes from that, if you're a new subscriber, welcome. Hello. This is Atheist Sunday School. your one-stop shop for everything Atheist Sunday and School. And boy, do we have a show for you today.
Good job, Lawrence.
Thanks.
Now, these are not members of the inner circle,
No, these are not members
No.
of the inner circle.
Whatever
they-
that means.
but they may be members of
An even greater circle.
the greater circle. Yes.
So, thank you, everyone, for subscribing, and also it's great if you're watching. But other announcements, more important ones, the Esoteric Nazism video.
Yes.
Ruben's been working on that for quite a bit. How's that going?
I've been reading a whole shitload of books on mysticism so I can point out how ridiculous Blavatsky is and her claims.
To be fair, I don't think you need to read a whole bunch of books on mysticism to know that, but it is good to do that.
It's good to cite sources.
Yeah, I agree. About last night.
About
Citing
last
sources
night.
For the week.
Wait, what did you say, Chris?
I said citing sources is for the week.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'll just plagiarize then.
Yeah, that's a good idea. About last night, we were supposed to have the 100-point show.
Yeah, we were supposed to have not the 100-point show, but
Well, the point pyramid. Man, I got like 3 hours of sleep.
Wow.
I know, just a bad day for me. We were supposed to have the point pyramid, but obviously that didn't work out. It was, we had a no-show contestant, which was kind of sucks. I haven't heard back from him. He seems to have completely vanished,
Yeah.
which is not a good thing. I honestly hope he's okay. I hope he's not dead.
Well, maybe he's decided to go elope with someone.
Maybe that is an option. So, you got that esoteric Nazism video coming up. Point pyramid. We're gonna try our best to reschedule. Lilith video. I am in the process of editing that video right now.
All right. How far along editing it are you?
Oh, I'm just in the beginning stages.
Oh, so
Yeah.
we
There's
probably will not be releasing this week or next.
maybe next week.
Maybe next.
I could probably swing it by next week.
Okay.
If I'm lucky, later this week. So, we also have, and also actually, if you want to see the script to our videos, the big long documentary style ones, if you want to see those scripts, all patrons get to see them,
Yep.
and all patrons get to be, or not all patrons, but all patrons $10 and up are immediately entered into a t-shirt giveaway.
Right, and if you're interested in the esoteric Nazism video, we do have a translation of an article from Ostara for the first time in English.
Yep.
On our Patreon, which you can go view.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
don't really.
Here's that wheel, maybe.
Yeah. Before we hop into the wheel, one quick thing. We are still at about 360 for our alchemy drive.
Yes.
So all donations go into this drive, and once we hit $666, we will attempt alchemy.
Yep,
You know,
we're going to turn something into something.
I have a weird theory about our drive last time being maybe one of the reasons we didn't see so many subs during that period. Just
doubt
saying the word demon over and over again.
I doubt it.
Well,
We say
Probably
demon
not.
a lot now.
it's true.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and I guess maybe that's popular. Who knows?
Demons are pretty popular. I mean, look at EA Coetting.
Oh,
He's-
yeah. Oh.
He's way more popular than he should be.
Yeah, I don't really
I
wanna look.
completely agree with that. Those are all the announcements. So, Chris, our Chris, not our guest Chris, but
Chris Prime.
background Chris. Chris, background Chris,
Prime or whatever.
Prime, whatever. Can you do us a favor?
Yeah, I'm spinning
and
the wheel.
spin that wheel.
There
Let's
it goes.
do this.
It's going. It's going right now.
Oh,
going?
tell us who it lands on.
Oh, you're never gonna guess.
Is it land on?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is, but why don't you tell me, since it's really hard for me to tell.
Yeah, that's Landon.
Wait,
That's
I
is
think.
it the red one?
It's
Yep,
the red
it's the red one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's landed
It
again.
Landon, you
landed
lucky
on
man.
land on.
You keep landing.
That's incredible.
I don't even know what we're gonna give you.
We yeah.
We gotta
Maybe
think
we
of that
can
again.
like tie-dye a T-shirt or something.
We'll
and
send
send
them
it
a
out
special one.
To
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, like
A
the
one
Landon
of a
keeps
kind?
winning T-shirt with Landon's head on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we should find that Save the Planet, Eat the Children T-shirt.
Oh my
and Send
God.
it to Landon.
Oh my god. Anyways, so those are all the announcements. We got a bunch of chapters for Job today.
Yeah, we have too many chapters for Job today. I
It
think we're
is.
gonna be here all day.
And it's mostly a very large dialogue between Job and his friends. And I say mostly because this first chapter we're going to read, chapter 3, is not quite that.
Oh,
So,
well, I've read a lot of Plato. I've had my share of dialogues. This should be fun, I guess.
so
But it looks like these chapters are pretty short, actually.
yeah, fairly short.
Like there's 4 chapters on these 2 pages.
Yeah.
So.
So it'll take a little bit, but we should be okay. And plus, we have a great Job scholar here in the making. Cause I'm gonna wait to call him a scholar yet, cause he doesn't have all the credentials or whatever. So, yeah, Chris is just awesome with Job. It's his child. He gave birth to it, and it was a horrifying labor scene. So. It's awesome.
You have no
out here.
idea how hard it is to go back in time and give birth and everything.
It's a real bummer. Yeah.
Sounds fun. Anyways, I have the King James version of the Bible. You know, the one true version.
The one true one, of course. I have the English Standard version of the Bible. Chris, what version do you have? I think you use a special one.
I will be using I'll be using 2 different translations. None of them are standard. I'll be using the Anchor Bible Marvin H. Pope version and Robert Gordis's translation.
Excellent. We also have the Robert Alter version of the Hebrew Bible.
You have translation and commentary.
Yes, and we also have the Holy Scriptures according to some Jews.
And the new King James Version. We have the Old Testament Survey from the New Interpreter's Bible.
And Eardman's commentary on the Bible.
Oh my
it's
God.
It's not air, it's
Okay, well,
ear.
literally everyone I speak to has called it Erdman's.
It has 2
Or
E's.
Erdman's.
Speed, need, need.
That just sounds ridiculous,
greed.
though.
Yeah,
Well, it's
Grad.
not my fault.
it's bad. Yeah, it's all great.
Okay, well, yeah, it's enormous, as you can see.
Another large one.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we have the Oxford Companion to the Bible.
Yes,
The
all very...
Least useful thing we've had, I believe.
The least useful one, yeah, definitely.
You know, I don't think that the New King James has been as useful as the Oxford Companion to the Bible.
The New King James was useful once when there was one translation issue. We all had different versions.
Yeah, that spirit.
no.
Spirit problem, remember?
There was that one with Elohim
Yeah.
in 1 Samuel. There was also...
The Elijah ascension, I think.
No, there was also the one, I think it was in Deuteronomy, like near the end, where it said like about the tribe of Reuben, I think, where it's like let his people be few or let not his people be few.
Right, there was, it was really A or not A.
Yeah.
Well, there was also that time, I swear, where this guy summons up the spirit of Elijah from somewhere, and there were 4 different versions of it.
No, you're thinking of Samuel, of
That's-
that one.
Yeah,
Where
Samuel-
Elohim came from the ground. Yeah,
sure,
that was in
but
1 Samuel.
But in one of them, it's Elijah's spirit.
No,
whatever.
Elijah's spirit's not called up. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're
Whose spirit is
You're
it then?
confusing. It's Samuel's spirit.
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yes.
Yes, we're all very...
Damn. Oh well, I give
the
up.
Witch of Endor.
Yeah, you're getting stuff mixed up.
Great.
All right.
Oof. Well, why don't I get us started then with the one true version,
Yes.
the
Unless
King James.
I don't know if Chris wants to jump in with any commentary initially. I have a couple things I wrote down, but if Chris says anything, it's probably gonna be covered. It's probably gonna be way better than what I have to offer. So.
I don't have any initial commentary, but I'm going to have commentary throughout because there is a lot of really interesting material in here, needless to say.
Alrighty.
So I guess I can just say my couple things.
Okay.
So obviously this is not part of the dialogue with his friends. It's not really addressed to anybody. It's more of just it's more of a lament, but at least according to Erdman's, and yes, I'm going to call it Erdman's. At least according to that commentary, it's supposed to be like a parody of like the classic laments and curses, because it's similar in many ways, but it's there are discrete differences. But we can. That's pretty much all I had to say initially. So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, chapter 3. After this opened Job his mouth, and cursed his day. And Job spake, and said, Let the day perish, wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, There is a man-child conceived. Let that day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for that night, let darkness seize upon it.
Yeah. So the whole thing about taking it back to the day of his birth initially. I have here noted that in 3:3 we are back to the day of birth. That's his own birth, which Job hopes will be one of darkness, so that the light of God's creative power will not seek it out. We're going to see that theme a lot throughout this, apparently.
All right. As for that night, let darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. That reminds me of like there are parts of Alaska where the sun doesn't come up for
Sure.
long
But
periods
the
of
thing
time.
is, yeah, it's a little bit. We got some background noise from you, Chris. Okay. Much better. Yeah, so, anyways, lost track of time. Right. He wants this day erased from history, basically. Like the day of his birth.
Okay. It's that bad.
Yes.
Okay. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them curse the day, who are ready to raise up their mourning. Mourning like, M-O-U-R.
Okay.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Did you already read verse 8?
I just read verse 8. Are you okay, Lawrence?
Just now. The verse you just read was verse 8.
Yeah, it says, Let them curse it that curse the day,
Yes.
who are ready to raise up their mourning.
Okay.
Actually, so right there, there has been a bit of confusion over that verse because the word that being used there is yom. So yom there's a problem with interpretation of the vowel there. However, in light of Ugaritic evidence, what we actually should be reading it as is as let the sea cursors damn it, those skilled to stir Leviathan.
Yeah, it's Leviathan. That's why I was so confused. I was like, wait, did you just read the same verse I just read?
In this case, the word sea, Yam, is actually referencing the Canaanite deity Yam.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because that was the sea god.
Well,
yeah.
that's a lot different.
Yes, it is a lot different.
And Leviathan is he's gonna pop up again later on, but he's very strongly tied to Yom because he is basically the carryover, the Hebrew carryover of Lotan.
Yeah, and the thing you said about Yom and Yam, I do have a note on that here. I mean, at least according to Erdman's, that curse the sea, which would be Yam there for sea, should be curse the day for Yom, the day. But obviously the sea imagery fits better with Leviathan and the rest of the verse. Mm-hmm. And that's there is a little bit more on that. That I'm just gonna read this from Erdman's because it expands on it. I didn't want to just make that sound like this is just a fact. So here's thus the verse could be calling on those who have the ability to utter powerful curses, such as would rouse Leviathan, to do so. Yeah, to do so for this night. A coherent meaning can, however, also be yielded by keeping day, suggesting that those who can most effectively curse the day following the night in question are those skilled to rouse up Leviathan. Eclipses were often thought to be caused by the swallowing up of the sun or moon by this monster, and apparently there's a discussion in Gaster's work about that. And so the reference could be a continuation of the desire for darkening and obliteration of the day.
Oh.
Yeah. Robert Gordis actually accounted for that, and here's what he argued. So the changes from Yom to Yom and from Leviathan to Leila, he argues it is easy to account for the two minor changes in the text we postulate. When the mythological reference to Yom was no longer recognized, let alone understood, Yom was vocalized as Yom, particularly in view of verses 1, 2, and proximity to Leila in verse 7. Was now written with an aleph, either through scribal or oral error, and probably because it seemed appropriate in context.
That makes perfect sense, actually.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of those things that we could use theoretically as evidence to help us determine a date. Because no, because
Nope.
if under that model, then if we could figure out when in time they pretty much just forgot about Leviathan, that would be like a signal.
The problem is that by the time that it was we don't know when it was being vocalized from Yom to Yom.
Sure.
So we have no idea when that actually took place. And then another problem is that we know that Yom and Leviathan / Lotan actually had continued to be talked about all the way up into the time of Philo of Byblos.
Okay, fair enough.
So in the 2nd century CE.
Yeah, fair
So it
enough.
doesn't really actually help us date it at all.
Yeah, fair enough. Hold on.
Yeah, here's
I'm
wondering
disembodied voice has
if
something
this
to say.
is the first time Leviathan. This is not the first time Leviathan's been brought up, is it?
They may have had a reference before. I don't remember it though.
Yeah, I am hesitant to say that it was.
Leviathan is brought. Okay, Leviathan is in Job, Amos. He's in some of the Psalms. He's in First Isaiah / Proto Isaiah. I don't know entirely where else he is though. Might be in Hosea. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Actually, I can just look up. I forgot. I have a catalog here of every time that he pops up.
Oh, is it? Are you using Strong's Concordance?
No, I'm using my own concordance.
It's fine. Okay. Well, I was just thinking You didn't list anything so far that I thought we read, so that probably means...
And it's censored in the King James Version.
Well, it wouldn't be censored. It would just be different manuscripts.
Damn it,
Censored.
Lawrence. It's censored.
Fine, it's censored.
Okay, here we go. Leviathan is in. He's in the Psalms. He's in Job. He's in. Anywhere else? Okay, it's being weird. I guess this is an old version of my catalog.
Haha.
Oh, fuck you. Yeah, Book of Isaiah, because that's one of the 27:1.
Still means it hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, at this point in
Yeah.
our reading, yeah. One thing I forgot to actually hit on that I did want to note was when you were reading earlier on, verse 4, like, let that day be darkness or whatever.
Let that day be darkness, let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it.
Yeah, that's a nice play on the whole let there be light thing.
The opposite.
Yeah, the exact opposite.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Anyways, I guess I'll carry on.
Yep.
Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb.
So he's saying he'd never want to be born.
Yeah. Nor hid sorrow from mine eyes. Wow, that's sad.
Yes, it is.
Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? He never had sex ed. Why did the knees prevent me? Or why the breasts that I should suck? For now should I have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept, then had I been at rest.
So this, I think, is an allusion to Sheol, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's definitely alluding to Sheol there.
Describing it as a place of rest.
Yeah.
And it's also preferable to life.
Yes,
Yep.
very much so. With kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw the light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly, and are glad when they can find the grave. Why is light given to a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in? For my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. That's the end of chapter 3. If you're enjoying the stream so far, like, comment,
Just drop
share,
a like if you
do
like
all the things
if you like Job's really depressing speech.
about how it would be better to have never been born.
Yes, and this is obviously
This is the most detail that we get about the afterlife so
this-
far.
So far,
Yes.
effectively, yeah.
It
And
sounds like you dig forever until you can take another nap. That doesn't sound great, but somehow it's preferable to life.
yeah, and the thing to remember about this this chapter is okay. So it's not addressed to God, but it kind of is, like, can't believe God did this to me, did this shit to me. Can't I just have been dead? So kind of under his breath kind of thing. So
There's
he's
no
not,
direct insult
right.
of God.
He's not cursing God. He's cursing the day and night. He's cursing the entire concept of him being born. So it's not quite blasphemy.
Ah. Well, I know a lot of teenagers who talk about all this
It's like
kind of
proto
shit.
blasphemy, you know?
It's like what?
Proto.
It's like proto blasphemy.
Proto. Okay.
Yeah, like, basically, this is before this was a big deal, and nowadays, he would have got grandfathered in, but, like, he wouldn't have made it now.
No.
No, that's blasphemy now.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways.
Why don't we continue on with a much more reasonable translation of the Bible with chapter 4, which Lawrence will read.
I will read it. You're welcome, world. So this is a new guy now. The dialogue really begins here. Yeah. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, "If one..." What? Go ahead.
No.
What?
So here's one of the pieces that people like Alfred Galland used to try and internally date the Book of Job. Eliphaz the Temanite.
Sure.
If one takes Temanite as indicating a clan, then it could be indicating an Edomite clan. So he tried using that in conjunction with other things that are going to be popping up here relatively soon, including what we already saw with the Chaldeans and the Sabaeans invading and everything, to try and internally date the Job to Nabonidus' reign.
Well, let's see what we can dig out of here. If one ventures a word with you, will you be impatient? Yet, okay. Yet who can keep from speaking? Behold!
Behold!
You have instructed many, and you have strengthened the weak hands. Your words have upheld him who was stumbling, and you have made firm the feeble knees. But now it has come to you, and you are impatient. It touches you, and you are dismayed. Is not your fear of God your confidence, and the integrity of your ways your hope? Remember, who that was innocent... Oh, no, this is so difficult to read, honestly. Who that was innocent ever perished? Probably a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
Or where were the upright cut off? As I have seen, those who plow iniquity and sow trouble reap the same. By the breath of God they perish, and by the blast of his anger they are consumed. The roar of a lion, the voice of the fierce lion, the teeth of the young lions are broken.
Hold on.
What's up?
For verse 7,
Yeah.
what Alter says, this is symptomatic of Eliphaz's argument. The knowledge that the innocent are never overtaken by disaster is something we have always known and need only recall.
What?
What? It says, if Job is plunged in a sea of disasters, there must be a good reason for it. That's completely irrational.
What the heck?
Like, we all know that. Like,
Well, it's an idea that was actually held in early Judaism, that only people who have committed sins will suffer.
Oh, so it's like our butchered idea of karma.
Basically.
Okay.
yeah, that's not how karma works.
I know.
I
Yeah.
hope you do.
Yeah.
You're taking that philosophy of Asian religions
Yeah, I
class.
am.
You better know how karma works.
I do know. The strong lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. This whole little thing with references to lions all the time. Yep.
It's like
It's very
Samson.
well, it's very ancient poetry. Like more so than the rest of it, I feel.
I mean, obviously, it's all just like figurative, fearsome animal, right?
Like I get that, but like the way it's written, like and how it's repeated, the form
Yes.
is
Well, it's presented more as poetry here.
No, I get that.
It isn't in the King James version.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's continue with this chapter. Now a word was brought to me stealthily. My ear received the whisper of it, amid thoughts from visions of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men. Dread came upon me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake. A spirit glided past my face. The hair of my flesh stood up. It stood still, but I could not discern its appearance. A form was before my eyes. There was silence. Then I heard a voice. Can mortal man be in the right before God? Can a man be pure before his Maker? Even in his servants he puts no trust, and his angels he charges with error. How much more those who dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like the moth. Between morning and evening they are beaten to pieces. They perish forever without anyone regarding it. Is not their tent cord plucked up within them? Do they not die? And that without wisdom? That was interesting. So this guy has visions.
He saw a ruach, right?
A ruach?
A spirit or breath or wind.
Oh, okay. Is there anything there that is of importance other than him having this vision?
Not particularly. It is mostly all straightforward. Your translation mostly got what was most critical about it.
Okay, that's good.
21 says, should their life thread be broken within them?
That makes more sense.
Here it says...
Gordis translates 21 as, indeed their tent cord is plucked up within them, they die having gained no wisdom.
So this says, the Hebrew yeter is a cord that can be either a tent cord, which is how some interpreters understand it here, or a bowstring. One gets the sense of some essential cord within the human body, the breaking of which immediately leads to death. The image strongly conveys the fragility of man's physical existence, which at any moment can come to an end.
Sad.
That's what Alter has to say.
That's a lot like how my philosophy teacher talks. He has like this ridiculous fear of death. Like more so than most people I've ever met.
Did he not read philosophy?
No, but he like consistently talks about like death is coming, it's inevitable, I need to find meaning in life, and so do you. Ah! And I'm like, dude, fucking relax, man.
Yeah.
You can't stop it, just chill out. Anyways. So that was the end of chapter 4. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please drop a like. I see 23 viewers. I should see 23 likes.
Or dislikes.
Whatever.
It really doesn't matter.
Engagement's just cool.
Yeah.
Also, the Alchemy Drive is still going. Super chats count for that.
And our Amazon wish list is still going.
Yeah,
but before we get too shilly here, why don't we go into chapter 5 with Chris taking us off?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Did I forget to unmute?
We got you.
Yeah, this is still is this still Eliphaz talking?
Surely.
Yes, this is still part of the speech of Eliphaz, but there's actually a little bit more interesting stuff going on here.
Ah, okay, fine.
I'm glad it was saved for me because it makes me look special.
Good.
Okay. Call out, who is there to answer you? For to whom, rather than the Holy One, can you turn? Anger surely kills the fool, and impatience slays the simpleton. I myself have seen a fool striking root, but I declared Follies' dwelling to be cursed. His sons will be far from safety. They will be crushed in the judgment gate, with none to deliver them. His harvest the hungry will devour, his substance the starving will carry away, and the famished will drag off his wealth. Indeed, misfortune does not come forth from the ground, nor does evil sprout from the earth. It is man who gives birth to evil, as surely as the sparks fly upward.
So,
Here's a note.
okay. Go ahead, do your note.
Verse 7, where it says, as surely as the sparks fly upward.
Yeah.
The Hebrew phrase right there actually reads Albany Reshef, which is sons of Reshef, who is a Canaanite deity of plague.
Ah,
It says in the altar version here that Reshef is the northwest Semitic god of pestilence and the underworld.
that pestilence sounds
Yes.
about right. Yeah. One thing I noticed, at least from a narrative perspective, at face value, was how it's not just the fool who gets all this shit happening. It's the children. They will also suffer. It seems like it's less of a original sin thing and more of a your dad is so stupid that he is causing your life problems.
Am I missing
I'm guessing.
something here? What exactly is meant by I have seen a fool striking root? Like,
Basically, I've seen a fool basically coming up,
oh,
kind of.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. As for me, I would seek after God, and to God entrust my cause. Now, the Hebrew for God being used here is Elim, I believe.
Elim, okay.
Altar says L.
Or, no, wait. No, okay, no, okay. So in verse 8, we do have Elohim. In verse 9, I just want to check and see what all we have going on.
Well, it looks like verse 9 doesn't say anything about God.
Or I'm sorry, it's verse 8b. The
Oh, okay.
second.
Okay. I can check
It
Erdman's.
looks like we have both El and Elohim being used in both lines.
That's really interesting because if it's a different word from presumably this was one author.
KJV
Yeah.
just uses God.
Which means basically that the words were interchangeable at this point.
Sure. That is what I'm figuring. But if it's the same author, it's like why would you interchange them?
So the KJV uses God twice.
Sure.
The
As is
Roman
tradition.
version says, "Yet I search for El, and to God I make my case." He doesn't have any commentary here on Elohim, though.
What verse is that exactly? That is
Verse 8.
5:8. Okay.
Yeah.
I am looking for anything on 5:8. I do not see anything on 5:8. Bummer. Okay.
Okay. Who does great things without end, wonders without number? He gives rain to the earth and sends water upon the open places. He sets the lowly on high, and the afflicted are raised to safety. He confounds the plans of the crafty so that their hands achieve no success. He traps the wise in their own cunning, and the schemes of the perverse come to a speedy end. In daylight they encounter darkness, and at noon they grope as in the night. but from their sharp tongue and heavy hand he saves the needy, so that the poor have hope, and injustice shuts her mouth.
So
Notice the sea language being used here. There's a lot of the Book of Job has a lot of storm imagery for God.
that that makes sense. I am noticing that. One thing that I found interesting was how earlier on in this chapter he was talking about how the fools would be effectively. I'm going to use the word punished loosely here. They would effectively be punished, but now he's also saying that the wise too would I guess suffer. I don't know. What
One thing I wanted to comment on here is that I forget which exact verse and chapter it said here, but I think Job was talking in chapter 3
yeah.
when he says that something along the lines of bad things coming from men.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that contradictory with the verse in Isaiah, which states that God is the source of all good and evil?
Yes, it is contradictory.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one.
So, verse 17 it gets interesting, as you'll see why in a minute.
Oh.
Behold, happy is
Hold
the
on.
man
You
whom
said behold. Shut
Behold.
up, Chris. Behold.
Yeehaw.
Behold, fuck off. Happy is the man whom God reproves. Hence, do not despise the chastisement of the Almighty. So, here's what's interesting. The word for God used there is Elo.
Okay.
So, and the word Almighty is Shaddai.
Okay.
So, one thing we're going to note is that all the patriarchal names for God actually appear most frequently in the Book of Job, except for like one-offs like El Olam and stuff like that. But like El Shaddai and names like that occur most frequently in Job. And it actually has some of the greatest variety for names of God, actually.
Yeah, like
because we've had Elohim now, we've had El, and we've had Elo, and now we've also now had Shaddai.
yeah, like already this is more names of God than we usually see. So
Yeah, and this is all in just one chapter.
yeah.
Yes, it's very different than the Yahweh alone stuff.
Yeah, it is.
So, for he wounds and but binds up. He strikes, but his hands bring healing. From 6 troubles he will save you, and in 7 no evil will touch you. In hunger he will redeem you from death, and in battle from the power of the sword. When the tongue of fire moves about, you will be hidden, nor need you fear the onrushing flood. At the ravage of famine you will laugh, and the beasts of the earth will not fear. For with the stones in the field you will be leagued, and the beasts of the field will be at peace with you. You will know that your tent is at peace when you visit your home. You will find no one missing. You will know that your children are many, and your offspring like the grass of the earth. You will come to your grave in ripe old age, like a shock of grain to the threshing floor in its season. Behold!
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 Behold! This we have searched out, it is true. We have heard it. Now you take it to heart.
So, it's interesting. So Eliphaz is obviously giving this motivational speech to his good buddy Job, and he says stuff about the beast shall be at peace with you, and that your offspring will be many. So many people he knew died, and so many, and all the animals he had died too.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I don't know.
Here's an
like
interesting.
if I were Job, and if I just lost everything, and you came up to me and said, "Hey, Lawrence, it's okay. You still have," and then you listed off everything that I lost, I'd be like, "No, I don't have that."
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting bit here in verse 27. It says, "Look, this we have searched. It is so. Hear it, and you should know." In the Robert Alter version, it says here, "And you should know." The second person pronoun, generally omitted before a conjugated verb, is emphatic. We'ata da lak, pointing his finger at Job. "As for you, you should certainly know this truth." So it's meant to have more emphasis in the Hebrew, apparently, or whatever it was, right? If it was Arabic.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, why don't we get into chapter 6 here?
Yes, chapter 6.
And I'll put aside my readable version and get into the unreadable King James.
Hold on.
I think I fixed it.
Okay, yeah, Jonas said a mic.
I just redid. Damn it, something's up with this mic.
Whose?
Ruben's. Yeah, it flickers from green and orange, which means it's losing connectivity. I don't know why.
I'll turn it off and on.
It's not on your end, buddy. I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, it's solid orange now, which is what we want.
Okay.
But it keeps flickering every once in a while. Not now, but it had been. I'll keep you informed. I didn't know it hadn't been impacting stream quality till now.
Okay.
I just changed the batteries too. So
All right.
So if there are any more audio issues
just point it out.
to the audience, yeah, just let us know.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I got them.
No.
Anyways, chapter 6 of Job from the King James Version of the Bible. "But Job answered and said, 'Oh, that my grief were thoroughly weighed, and my calamity laid in the balances together. For now it would be heavier than the sand of the sea. Therefore my words are swallowed up. For the arrows of the Almighty are within me. The poison whereof drinketh up my spirit. The terrors of God do set themselves in array against me.'" He's saying that God has to shoot poisoned arrows?
Effectively.
Okay. "Doth the wild ass bray when he hath grass? Or loweth the ox over his fodder? Can that which is unsavory be eaten without salt? Or is there any taste in the white of an egg? The things that my soul
What's up?
Really quick.
Yeah.
So Gordon has a note that actually on these questions, the question style there as a rhetorical device is actually very common wisdom language. So he brings brings as an example this instruction of King Amenemhet. "Have women ever marshaled the battle array? Have contentious people been bred within the house? Has the water which cuts the soil ever been opened, so that men are frustrated at work?" Basically, these questions are rhetorical, where the rhetorical answer is an automatic, obviously not.
Right. Are they presented in threes like that usually?
From what I can see, it is rather typical, yes.
That's interesting. Okay, "The things that my soul refused to touch are as my sorrowful meat."
Hold on. You said the things that my soul refused to touch?
Mm-hmm.
This is for verse 7, right?
Mm.
So the English Standard Version has "my appetite refuses to touch them," and then Alter's translation has "my throat refuses to touch them." For an altar notes that for Job in his suffering, all food has become nauseating. And,
Weird.
Yeah, then saying that it resembles.
Yeah, the translation with soul, Gordis finds to actually be very unsatisfactory because there's actually a lot of grammatical difficulty trying to actually make an argument for soul being in there. So he actually translates it as "I refuse to touch my food. I loathe it as if it were diseased."
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty similar to altar. Altar has "my throat refuses to touch them. They resemble my sickening flesh," and obviously your version was something totally different. The English Standard says, "My appetite refuses to touch them. They are as food that is loathsome to me." So there are lots of different ways this has been understood.
As my sorrowful meat.
Yeah.
Oh, that I might have my request.
Sorrow ruins the meat.
Oh, yeah. Or it adds flavor to it.
Depending on the animal.
Yes.
Like human? Delicious.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that God would grant me the thing that I long for, even that it would please God to destroy me, that he would let loose his hand and cut me off, then should I have comfort.
And if you remember that cutting off from people, that motif, happened a lot earlier. I think it happened a good amount of times. Actually, in Esther, that language was in Esther too. And I think in Ezra and Nehemiah, and a little bit in the Deuteronomistic history.
It's common as hell.
Yeah.
Yes. Yea, I would harden myself in sorrow. Let him not spare, for I have not concealed the words of the Holy One. What is my strength, that I should hope? And what is mine end, that I should prolong my life? Is my strength the strength of stones, or is my flesh of brass? Is it not my help in me, and is wisdom driven quite from me?
No, your translation actually mistranslates it as brass. It's actually should be translated as bronze.
That
happens a lot, yeah.
It's done that consistently throughout the entire King James Version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the King James, therefore it
It's
is
the one
greatest
true version.
Bible.
Yeah, it's the one with the unicorns and the giants and
the dragon.
The dragons. Yeah, it's the best one. To him that is afflicted, pity should be showed from his friend, but he forsaketh the fear of the Almighty. My brethren have dealt deceitfully as a brook, and as the stream of brooks they pass away, which are blackish by reason of the ice, and wherein the snow is hid. What time they wax warm, they vanish. When it is hot, they are consumed out of their place. The paths of their way are turned aside. They go to nothing and perish. The troops of Tema looked. The companies of Sheba waited for them. Who's Tema?
So
Those are two others. So when it says troops there, it's more accurately should be translated as caravans.
Yeah.
And so that's another element that Galam tried to argue for internally dating the book of Job.
Right, okay.
But it's all pretty specious because all that is any of that information taken on its own or even in conjunction could basically argue for practically any date for Job, because we know Arabia, there are a lot of trade routes in Arabia, particularly with Tema, for ages.
And just to give some more context, Alter here notes, so about Tema and Sheba. Sheba is in the southwest end of the Arabian Peninsula. Tema is in the north, and in fact, caravans went from one to the other on a trade route. The geography is nicely appropriate for Job as an Easterner, quote unquote.
They were
Hold on.
What has happened?
You Mike just went green for no fucking reason. It's doing it again. It just did it again.
Weird. That is a bummer.
I'm trying something here.
I can continue the reading.
Yeah, you
you
can,
want.
but I could try something else.
You can try your thing. You guys figure that out. I'll continue the reading.
All right.
Where were you
Verse
at? Right. Okay, verse 20. They are ashamed because they were confident. They come there and are disappointed. For you have now become nothing. You see my calamity and are afraid. Have I said...
Seems to be working again. I have no idea what the problem was.
Okay. Chris, yes, you have your hand raised.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just not.
That is so annoying.
Okay. They were confounded because they had hoped. They came thither and were ashamed. For now ye are nothing. Ye see my casting down and are afraid.
Oh, it went out again.
Oh my god.
Alright, I am going to have to switch something out here.
Okay.
Okay.
Just...
So they were, someone was afraid. Okay. Yeah, for you have now become nothing. You see my calamity and are afraid. Have I said, make me a gift? Or from your wealth offer a bribe for me? Or deliver me from the adversary's hand? Or redeem me from the hand of the ruthless? Teach me, and I will be silent. Make me understand how I have gone astray. How forceful are upright words. But what does reproof from you reprove? Do you think that you can reprove words when the speech of a despairing man is wind? Is wind. Does that mean it just kind of flies away, goes unheard? Is that what that's supposed to mean?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, you would even cast lots over the fatherless and bargain over your friend. But now, be pleased to look at me, for I will not lie to your face. Please turn. Let no injustice be done. Turn now. My vindication is at stake. Is there any injustice on my tongue? Cannot my palate discern the cause of calamity?
So I just gave Ruben a new mic.
Okay.
Yes.
We had 5, so I switched it out.
Okay.
Looks like this one was just having problems, and we are fine now, so you can continue as usual. If I notice anything, I'll point it out again.
Okay. Return, I pray you. Let it not be iniquity. Yea, return again. My righteousness is in it. Is there iniquity in my tongue? Cannot my taste discern perverse things?
Yeah, you finished that off.
Yeah, that's the end.
Yeah. Are there any certain notes on that, Chris? Any thoughts?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have.
Anything else.
Yeah, I don't really have much there either. If you guys are enjoying the stream,
Unless you just want to, grammatically go through each verse and random stuff like that, but I think that would get exceedingly difficult to do.
yeah, that does sound
Yes.
exceedingly difficult.
I see 30 people there. We should get 30 likes.
30's very nice. Thanks
Or
for watching,
Or
folks.
dislikes. Either way, we're cool with whatever.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was the end of chapter 6. And let's hop right into chapter 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. This is actually also Job. Has not, oh, here you go.
Oh, yeah, give me that.
A readable version for you.
Yeah.
That-
something
He
with
always wants to
commentary.
hold on to that.
Yeah, something that is a better translation. It's more accurate, and it's just easier to understand.
Yeah.
And also more accurate than the
I guess
KJV.
this fairy tale Bible is a good book stand.
It is. Yeah. Chris, have you seen our King James version? How it looks?
It's quite ridiculous.
Yes, it's mine. It's the other. It's Chris Prime's.
Yeah. Make sure to.
Oh, I've got one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, can it look like anymore out of a Disney movie?
It's like one of those Bibles you'd see at a church just sitting on the altar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's generic. I love it.
Okay, let's hop right into chapter 7. Has not man a hard service on earth, and are not his days like the days of a hired hand?
Hold on.
Life is
Alter's
suffering.
Commentary says, does not man have fixed service on earth? And he says, fixed service, the more common meaning of the Hebrew tzava, is army. By extension, the word refers to any set term of service.
Okay. Like a slave who longs for the shadow, and like a hired hand who looks for his wages, so I am allotted months of emptiness, and nights of misery are apportioned to me. When I lie down, I say, when shall I arise? But the night is long, and I am full of tossing till the dawn. You know, I feel that. I very much... Wait, whose mic is dead?
No one's dead. It's a very momentary thing. I'm trying to get Ruben's mic volume up because it's different.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Anyways, but yeah, the whole thing about the night being long, I feel that. The night was very long for me last night. It was tossing and turning.
That's weird, dude.
Yeah, I just could not sleep. It was probably all that Mountain Dew.
You're kidding.
Maybe.
Why do you drink so much Mountain Dew?
I don't know, but I drank them at like 10 or 11, and apparently they stuck with me for a while. I was just trying to make sure my heart rate didn't go up. It did. Yeah. Anyways. My flesh is clothed with worms and dirt. My skin hardens, then breaks out afresh. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and come to their end without hope. Remember that my life is a breath. My eye will never again see good. I just love that. Like, I know what he's saying, but I just love the grammar there. My eyes will never see good again. I know exactly what he's saying. It's a different kind of.
No, it's funny. It's fine.
The eye of him who sees me will behold.
Oh!
Behold.
Me no more. While your eyes are on me, I shall be gone, as the cloud fades and vanishes. So he who goes down to Sheol does not come up. He returns no more to his house, nor does his place know him any more. Therefore, I will not restrain my mouth. I will speak in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I the sea or a sea monster that you set a guard over me?
This says, am I
Okay,
Yam or the sea beast?
Yeah, I'm guessing it said something like that.
We've got two notes here. Again, we have an occurrence of the Canaanite god Yam being mentioned here as sea, and then dragon, which is Mashima, is actually a basically a guard that is placed upon the sea, which it's basically a creature that sets limits to the waves.
In the King James Version, it says, am I a sea or a whale?
Am I a sea or a whale?
Yeah.
So did they view the whale as like what are those things called? They put them in like on pier, like it's what piers are made of. They break the waves. I forget what they're called.
Wave breaker.
Sure, I thought they had some other kind of name. I'm almost
Sure.
positive they had a different kind of name.
Sure.
There's an interesting little note here on Yam. It says, Yam is the sea god of Canaanite mythology. Figured
Yes.
as a sea monster, he is also called Tanin, as in the second name here, Rahab, and Leviathan. In some versions, the monster has several heads. Yam is subdued by Baal, the weather god, and imprisoned so that he cannot rise up to overwhelm the land. Thus Job...
Yeah.
What?
So Is he saying that Yam is the same as the Tananin and Leviathan?
I think he did say that, yeah.
He said that they're
Yeah,
different.
that's not wrong. That's not. I mean, that's not correct. In the Baal cycle, Lotan and the Tananin are both. They're basically henchmen. They're like underlings.
Damn it, Alter.
Damn it, Alter.
Where the hell was I? But the sea monster.
You are first bold.
Yes. So yeah, that you set a guard over me. When I say my bed will comfort me, my couch will ease my complaint, then you scare me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that I would choose strangling and death rather than my bones. I loathe my life. I would not live forever. Me neither. Leave me alone, for my days are a breath. What is man that you make so much of him, and that you set your heart over him? Visit him every morning and test him every moment? How long will you not look away from me, nor leave me alone till I swallow my spit?
At verse 17,
Okay, we are really having audio problems. I don't care what you're saying now because no one can hear you.
why can no one hear it?
I have no idea. You are connected. You are maxed out on volume and gain, and there's nothing different.
That is weird. Okay, we can take over the reading. We can figure it out after the show.
Stupid. I don't get it.
Okay, I'm just saying we can take over the reading.
I don't. I just want this to work.
Me too. Just take a breath, man.
No, I need to see what the chat said. What did they say about it? It's all staticky now too.
So apparently, yeah.
I don't know what the fuck happened. We have had good settings for forever now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened either.
We've never had a broadcast this way. I don't understand. Does you want my mic, Ruben? Take mine. It's not fucking up.
Might be a good idea. Okay.
It seems to be the fucking port.
Okay. So I am going to continue reading. Hopefully, the audience can hear me. Audience, if you cannot hear me, let me know. So, where was I? Right, he's just, being all sad. He'd rather be dead, the usual. If I sin, what do I do to you, you watcher of mankind?
So I was saying about verse 17. I assume that I can be heard now.
Probably, yeah.
Can I?
I don't know what's wrong with you specifically, but you're not moving at all. Move the mic towards you.
Yeah, it's literally right next to my face, Chris. I don't know what you want.
I don't know, man. The mics will work.
All right, can you hear me?
Barely?
And that was your mic.
Yep.
So,
It's fucking Ruben.
Oh, well, that's not technologically possible.
Well, now I'm hearing a buzzing noise. Terrible buzzing.
okay, apparently they hear him now, actually.
Oh, well, they say they hear me now fine.
Okay, well, I turned off my end entirely,
Okay,
which was Ruben's end.
okay.
Oh,
It just sounds like that.
All right.
Port's busted. I don't know what's up.
All right, we'll figure it
Weird.
out after the show. Relax.
it says about verse 17, what is man that you make him so great? This whole line looks like a sardonic citation and reversal of Psalm 8:5 through 6. What is man that you should note him, and the human creature that you pay him heed, and you make him little less than the gods, with glory and grandeur you crown him. Instead of the psalmists marveling over man's preeminence in creation, Job goes on to say bitterly that since man is such an inconsequential creature, it makes no sense for God to single him out for such scathing, unblinking scrutiny.
Excuse me. All right. Where were we in that? Right. Watcher of mankind. Why have you made me your mark? Why have I become a burden to you? Why do you not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I shall lie in the earth. You will seek me, but I shall not be. And that is the end of chapter 7.
Yeah. Here it's dust instead of earth.
Barely any difference there, effectively.
Well, that's that chapter.
Yeah.
Hey, if you hear audio issues, sorry about that.
Yes.
But otherwise, like, share,
And subscribe. And all that
and all
good
that.
stuff.
Lawrence, I hear a strange sound.
Oh, no, apparently you don't.
No, I don't.
We're not doing that. I'm already having audio issues. I don't want to create more audio issues.
Great.
We don't hear a strange sound today.
We don't hear a strange sound today.
Apparently. But let's continue. Yeah, so chapter 8, we'll pass that over to our good buddy Chris.
So we have now the response of Bildad the Shuhite. No, we have no idea what Shuhite means. I, for one, am somewhat convinced that half the names in here were either pulled out of a hat, or the author of Job was just making them up. I'm not kidding. That is somewhat of my view. One thing to note is that God is not called Elohim in this chapter ever. He's not called Elo. He's only called El and Shaddai.
Are you telling me, Chris, that the Bible has things that are wrong in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would have guessed?
Let's hop right into it
Here
then.
we go. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered, saying, "How long will you mouth such notions, and the words of your mouth be a mighty wind? Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert the right? Your children must surely have sinned against him, and so he has dispatched them for their transgression. If you will seek God and make supplication to the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, he will surely watch over you and safeguard your righteous dwelling." So basically, your kids did something wrong. They're dead because they did something wrong. Grow up and try and make peace with God.
This is very different from how what was his name? Eliphaz? Yeah. This is a very different approach to helping your friends.
Yep.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
You fucked up.
Bildad takes the asshole approach.
Yeah.
Evidently. Okay. And you have your past, and though your past may have been lowly, your future will be greatly exalted. For inquire, I pray you, of an earlier generation, and heed the insight of their fathers. For we ourselves are mere yesterdays and know nothing, our days only a shadow upon the earth. Indeed, they will teach and inform you, and out of their understanding utter these words. Can papyrus grow where there is no marsh? Can reeds flourish without water? Here is one plant yet in flower, not ready to be cut down. Before any other plant it withers. Such is the fate of all who forgot God. The hope of the godless must perish. His self-confidence is mere gossamer thread, his trust but a spider's web. If one leans upon it, it will not stand. If one grasps it, it will not endure. And here is the other plant. It is fresh, even under the hot sun, and its shoots spread beyond its garden. Even over a stone heap, the roots are entwined as it cuts through a bed of rocks. If its place should destroy it and deny it, saying, I have never seen you, behold!
Behold!
It goes on its way, and from the earth elsewhere it will sprout again. Indeed, God will not spurn the blameless man, nor will he uphold the evildoers. God will yet fill your mouth with laughter, and your lips with shouts of joy. Your enemies will be clothed with shame, and the tent of the wicked shall be no more.
So, what I can gather from this is that he is pretty much saying, like, yeah, this is all going on for a reason. You're gonna. This is like the kind of sounds like it builds character, basically. That's what it's sounding like.
And God will take care of all of it.
Yeah.
Like I said before, he takes the dick approach.
Yeah. There was one thing I was wondering about. Verse 8. And I'm using Alter's translation right now. For ask, pray generations of old. The formulaic language of this entire verse is reminiscent of these lines from the Song of Moses. Remember the days of old, give thought to the years of times past. Ask your father that he may tell you, your elders that they may say to you. So I was just interested in. I was just looking at that. That stood out to me. For an inexplicable reason, I guess.
Well, my verse 13 was different too. Mine says, "So are the paths of all that forget God, and the hypocrites' hope shall perish." Whereas yours said, "the godless."
Yeah. Let's see which one. That was verse
13.
13. Okay. Yeah. Thus is the end of all who forget God, and the hope of the tainted is lost.
So, depending on your translation, atheists are either godless, tainted, or hypocrites.
We're all of them. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, why don't I bring us into chapter 9 then?
Chapter 9. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Then Job answered and said, I know it is so of a truth, but how should man be just with God? If he will contend with him, he cannot answer him one of 1,000. He is wise in heart and mighty in strength. Who hath hardened himself against him, and hath prospered? Abraham, for one.
Yeah.
Which removeth the mountains, and they know not. Which overturneth them in his anger. Which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble. Apparently the earth has pillars.
Well, this comes up so much, so because I'm a terrible person, I love watching flat Earth debates.
Yes.
This does come up.
So the flat earthers really believe the earth
Well,
has pillars.
I won't say all of them because it's not all of them.
Okay.
But at least the more biblically inclined ones, yeah. Although, Chris, what this is supposed to be metaphorical, right? I am pretty sure that
What verse?
about the pillars.
Verse 6, which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble.
No, actually, when it references the pillars of the earth, that is actually referencing the actual cosmology that they believed
It is.
in.
Okay, gotcha.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that they believed that the earth did sit upon pillars, and underneath that was Sheol, and then it was encapsulated by a dome, basically. And then within the dome, sewn into it, sinews are the stars, and then underneath of it is the sun and the moon, and then above it, you have the waters and there's the floodgates that are in the dome, and then above that you have the heavens.
I mean, I knew that was an ancient Near Eastern cosmic geography, but I just wasn't sure at what point this would have been written, so I don't know if the author would have used it as...
Also, real quick, someone in the chat, Joyce, are you serious, asked, is this the volcano god? There is no ancient Near Eastern volcano god. There is none.
Well, that is, there's your answer.
All right. Which commandeth the sun? Oh, wait. You were saying?
Okay, what verse are we at right now?
We finished verse 6. We're on verse 7.
Okay. when we do verse 9 and verse 8 and 9, there's a lot to unpack.
Okay.
Great. Read those verses and we'll unpack them.
Okay, I will do that. Which commandeth the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars, which alone spreadeth out the heavens, and treadeth upon the waves of the sea, which make Arcturus, Orion, Pleiades, and the chambers of the south. So,
You can probably finish the thought.
yeah, and which does great things past finding out, yea, and wonders without number.
So my translation is a little different there. At least in verse 10, it's quite different. It says, who does great things beyond stretching out, and then it was just the stretching out part, and marvelous things beyond number. I point out the stretching out part because creationists, they love to say that, here is where it is. Here's where it says, that, you know how the universe is expanding?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, see? Stretching out. But I'm sure Chris will have more to say on that, so I'm very excited to hear about that.
In verse 9, are they referring to...
It says, who made the bear and Orion, the Pleiades, and the chambers of the south.
Oh, so it is constellations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So, okay, so there's a
Oh my God.
crap load to unpack. So when it says that he stretches out the heavens, the idea behind that is actually it's basically akin to the Enuma Elish, where you have Marduk who split apart Tiamat, and with her skin, he stretched it out and he created the boundaries for the heavens between Earth and the Earth below and the heavens above. Where he also used that to separate the two primordial seas as well. Then, so that is a very mythological scene. The next part of verse 8, though, what did you guys have for verse 8b?
Which alone spreadeth out the heavens and treadeth upon the waves of the sea.
Okay. So it's long been people have variously translated either as waves of the sea or as high places of the sea. Both of those translations are actually incorrect. As we now know from Ugaritic evidence, it should actually be read. The phrase is actually found very commonly applied to either animals or gods, and it means on the backs of X, basically. So and when it says sea right there, once again we have an allusion to Yam. So it should be read and treads on the back of Yam.
For which verse are we looking at? Sorry.
Verse 8b.
Okay.
We have another chaos serpent that's going to be referenced in verse 13 as well. And when we get to the constellations, one thing that we're going to also note later on in the book of Job is actually the use of astral theological language.
Yeah, you see, here's the thing about before you hop into it. Here's the thing about astrotheology. People they absolutely love to turn the entire Bible into astrotheology and interpret it through that lens. And I'm like, stop it. Like, do you know, there was one commenter on the golden calf video that was like, the golden calf is an astrotheological thing. And I'm like, no, it's fucking not. I'm almost 100% positive it's not. So it's dangerous to it's a dangerous area, I should say. It's very easy to fall down a rabbit hole of bullshit in astrotheology.
And when we talk about astrotheology, you also have to be very careful because
Chris Hansen, hold on just a second.
Astrotheology is very nuanced.
Just a second. Hold on, just a second.
All I wanted to say was that the grand majority of fantasy has been based off of the astrotheological aspects that were in the Bible. It's kind of bizarre that stuck the longest. Just saying, they don't pick up on other tropes as much.
All right. Anyways, Chris Hansen, what were you saying to finish your actual thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the things that we really need to be careful of is that the language, it needs to be we need to be very careful with astral theology as well, because even when we do have actual examples of it, it is exceedingly nuanced.
Yeah,
So, like, when they're referencing specific
like these
constellations, I imagine that helps with dating it. And I imagine it would also impact from what region you would be able to tell where it's from. Because
Well, we already know that this is from the northern hemisphere, so that doesn't tell you that much. It doesn't tell you that much.
Just a quick side note, because Joyce keeps continuing on that rant in the chat, and I hate the volcano god rant.
Of course you do.
There
yeah.
is no volcano god in the ancient Near East. There is none. There's none in Babylon. There's none with the Edomites. There's none with the Moabites. There's none with the Israelites. No Canaanites. The best you're ever going to come up with is there is one fire god in all of Canaan who got killed by Baal. The end.
Okay. All right. I hope you got that all out of you. Because I try not to have like arguments between us and anyone in the chat, because I know that would just distract from the show. So
I think it adds to the show.
Well, hopefully that ends that. Anyways, I think we were on verse 11.
Yes. Lo, he goeth by me, and I see him not. He passeth on also, but I perceive him not. Behold!
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 He taketh away. Who can hinder him? Who will say unto him, What doest thou? If God will not withdraw his anger, the proud helpers do stoop under him.
So hold on.
Yes.
I have here, God will not turn back his anger. Beneath him bowed the helpers of Rahab.
Rahab.
Yes.
Yes.
Rahab is a chaos serpent of folklore.
Okay.
Yeah, here's a note from Alter. It actually says Rahab's minions, according to Alter. Rahab is another name for the primordial... Oh my god. Rahab is another name for the primordial sea monster, and so the minions, literally helpers, are his mythological henchmen. The subduing of Rahab's minions, like the trampling on the crests of the sea in verse 8, has its background in the conquest of the sea god by the weather god in Canaanite mythology.
Yeah, and Gordis likens Rahab to Tiamat as well, and argues that for a correlation between them as well, especially based off of the helpers and everything.
Mm-hmm. I'll continue then.
Yeah.
How much less shall I answer him, and choose out my words to reason with him, whom, though I were righteous, yet would I not answer, but I would make supplication to my judge. If I had called, and he had answered me, yet would I not believe that he had hearkened unto my voice. For he breaketh me with a tempest, and multiplieth my wounds without cause. He will not suffer me to take my breath, but filleth me with bitterness. If I speak of strength, lo, he is strong. And if of judgment, who shall set me a time to plead? If I justify myself, mine own mouth shall condemn me. If I say I am perfect, it shall also prove me perverse. Though I were perfect, yet would I not know my soul. I would despise my life. This is one thing, therefore I said it. He destroyeth the perfect and the wicked. If the scourge slay suddenly, he will laugh at the trial of the innocent. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now my days are swifter than a post. They flee away, they see no good. They are passed away as the swift ships, as the eagle that hasteth to the prey, hasteth. They are passed away as the swift ships, If I say I will forget my complaint, I will leave off my heaviness and comfort myself. I am afraid of all my sorrows. I know that thou wilt not hold me innocent.
Just to be clear here, this I don't think this is technically blasphemy, but it's like right on the edge.
Well,
isn't it?
Yeah. oh yeah. I mean, the language that Job uses throughout here, I would argue, is borderline blasphemous.
Yeah. This guy loves my suffering. He relishes in my pain.
If I be wicked, why then labor I in vain? If I wash myself with snow water, and make my hands never so clean, yet shalt thou plunge me in the ditch, and mine own clothes shall abhor me. For he is not a man as I am, that I should answer him, and we should come together in judgment. Neither is there any daysman betwixt us, that might lay his hand upon us both. Let him take his rod away from me, and let not his fear terrify me. Then would I speak, and not fear him, but it is not so with me. So he's scared shitless.
I mean, wouldn't you be?
I mean, if all that shit happened to me, yeah, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm fucked.
Yeah, you got one friend telling you it'll all get better. You got another one saying, pull yourself up by your bootstraps,
Well, I
you
think
little
that
bitch.
when you said it's almost blasphemous,
Yeah.
it's really just because he's saying this as a response to what Bildad said and what the other guy, Eliphaz, said.
This would be mostly a reply to... He already responded to Eliphaz, so...
Right, but Eliphaz also brought up, I think, earlier that if something bad is happening, it's because they did something wrong.
Sure, yeah, as is tradition.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's that. Anyways, that's the end of Chapter 9. If you're enjoying it so far, donate to our alchemy drive so that we can turn something into something.
Also, Patreon and Facebook, Twitter, all that other stuff.
Yeah. Transmutation.
Yeah, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. And if you're a new viewer, hello.
Yeah, that's all you get.
Yeah. Welcome to the...
Atheist Sunday School, your one-stop shop for everything Atheist Sunday in school. And boy,
do we have a show for you today? Yes, let's continue to chapter 10. This is Job is still talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I loathe my life. I will give free utterance to my complaint. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say to God, do not condemn me. Let me know why you contend against me. Does it seem good to you to oppress, to despise the work of your hands, and favor the designs of the wicked? Have you eyes of flesh? Do you see as man sees? Are your days as the days of man, or your years as a man's years, that you seek out my iniquity and search for my sin, although you know that I am not guilty, and that there is none to deliver out of your hand? So, what I'm getting from this is I feel like this is how a lot of Christians think atheists are. Like, you had so much bad stuff happen in your life, and you're just angry at God or some shit like that, you know? So that, maybe this is how they picture it. Maybe this is how they picture us.
But really, this is how Catholic saints are, right? Because Job is a saint.
Okay, then. One other thing is that, he's relating, God to himself, anyways. Your hands fashioned and made me, and now you have destroyed me altogether. Remember that you have made me like clay, and will you return me to dust? Did you not pour me out like milk and curdle me like cheese? You clothed me with skin and flesh and knit me together with bones and sinews. You have granted me life and steadfast love, and your care has preserved my spirit. Yet these things you hid in your heart. I know that this was your purpose. If I sin, you watch me, and do not acquit me of my iniquity. If I am guilty, woe to me! If I am in the right, I cannot lift up my head, for I am filled with disgrace, and look on my affliction.
So, in verse 12, just one bit here, it says, "And your precepts my spirit kept," in the altar version. It says here, given the way biblical syntax functions, it's also possible to switch subject and object around here, as most interpreters do. Your precepts, or providence, kept my spirit. But the formulation sounds like several lines in Psalm 119, where it is the human being or his spirit who keeps God's precept. I thought that was noteworthy.
Sure. Was affliction, and were my head lifted up, you would hunt me like a lion, and again work wonders against me. You renew your witnesses against me, and increase your vexation towards me. You bring fresh troops against me. I'm guessing fresh troops isn't translated as fresh troops.
Which?
Because we had something that was translated as troops before. Verse 17.
Yeah. So Gordis that's verse 17 you're reading?
Yeah.
So Gordis translates it as, you constantly send new witnesses against me and increase your hostility towards me. Wave after wave of foes assail me.
Here it says, you summon new witnesses against me and swell up your anger towards me. Vanishings and hard service are mine. And the commentary says, this entire clause is one of the most notable puzzles in Job. The second of the two nouns is the same word used at the beginning of chapter 7, and rendered there because of the immediate context as fixed service. The first noun, halophot, derives from a verb that means to slip away, to vanish, or to change. What Job may be saying is that his existence has become durance vile, quote, hard service, end quote, in which everything he would cling to slips between his fingers.
Yeah, I'd get that. That definitely seems like it's going on. Definitely seems like he's very salty.
Yeah.
Did you have something to say, Chris?
No.
No? Okay, I thought you were motioning. Okay.
Never motioning.
Never.
Just says stuff.
Not once. And here we're back to the womb thing. Why did you bring me out from the womb? Would that I had died before any eye had seen me, and were as though I had not been carried from the womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Yeah, may as well have died in the womb, you know?
Yeah.
Then cease, and leave me alone, that I may find a little cheer before I go, and I shall not return to the land of darkness and deep shadow, the land of gloom like thick darkness, like deep shadow without any order, where light is as thick as darkness.
And that is actually one of the, in my opinion, one of the greatest descriptions of Sheol ever. I just think it's so cool.
I've seen cooler, but I guess, Sheol's not really that interesting altogether, so I guess this is would be an interesting description of it. I find it interesting. So earlier, Job was talking about his past, and you can't really change the past, but yet he's lamenting about it.
Yeah.
And now he is kind of in a way talking about the future, a little bit in some ways, like why don't you, just let me live my life? Why don't you get away from me? I guess a couple things in there about it. So I just find that interesting how that shifted.
Yeah. With that being said,
Yeah, that is the end of chapter 10.
we only have 4 more chapters today.
Yeah, 4 more.
Whoopee.
Yeah.
Then, Chris, why don't you get on with it? Chapter 11.
Make sure to drop a
Wow.
like and subscribe if you haven't. 34 viewers. Drop a like or a dislike. We don't really care.
Okie dokie. So, now we have Zophar, the Namathite, answered saying, and we have no idea where Nama is. We don't know what it is. Again, I'm pretty sure that they just made up names. That's my theory. Shall a multitude of words go unanswered, and a man full of talk appear in the right? Your rantings force men to silence. You mock the truth with no one to shut you up. As you say, my doctrine is pure, and I am pure in your eyes. But oh, if only God would speak and open his lips to you and tell you the secrets of wisdom, for there are mysteries in understanding. Then you would know that God is exacting less from you than your guilt demands. Can you penetrate the essence of God? Can you discover the nature of the Almighty? It is higher than heaven. What can you do? And deeper than Sheol. What can you know? It is longer than the earth in measure, and wider than the sea. If God seizes hold and imprisons and reigns, who can hinder him? For he is well acquainted with worthless men. He sees their sins, though he pretends not to notice. But a stupid man will get understanding as soon as the wild ass's colt is born a man. If you direct your heart aright and spread out your hands to him, if there be iniquity in your hand, put it away. Let no wickedness dwell in your tent. You will be able to lift your face free from blemish. You will be firmly set with nothing to fear. All your misery you will forget, recalling it only as waters that have passed away. Brighter than the noonday will be your world. Its darkness will shine like the morning. You will lie down knowing there is hope. You will make your couch and lie down in safety. You will lie down and none will make you afraid. Indeed, many will entreat your favor, but the eyes of the wicked will fail with longing. All escape will be cut off from them, and their hope will turn to despair.
So it seems like Zophar is kind of taking up the position of like God works in mysterious ways.
God works in mysterious ways, and you're an idiot for thinking that you didn't sin.
I guess. But weren't we told at the very beginning that he was like a really good guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay. Look at this. The very first verse. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. The very first verse.
Yep, so if he's blameless, he can't have sinned.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, book.
Yep.
I mean, it kind of makes sense if we, are looking at authorship and stages of development, but as a whole, yeah, it doesn't really fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why don't I get us into chapter 12 then?
Yes. Chapter 12.
And Job answered and said, No doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you, yea, who knoweth not such things as these. I am as one mocked of his neighbor, who calleth upon God, and he answereth him. The just upright man is laughed to scorn. He is that ready to slip with his feet, is as a lamp despised in the thoughts of him that is at ease. The tabernacles of robbers prosper.
Hold on. What verse are you reading?
5. He that is ready to slip with his feet is as a lamp despised in the thoughts of him that is at ease. That's 12:5.
Oh, okay. No. Sorry, you said tabernacles. I was looking for.
The tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure, into whose hand God bringeth abundantly.
Okay, so just
Real quick, my verse 5 is exceedingly different. in a number of ways. So my verse 5 from Gordis reads, "The unfortunate deserve only contempt in the opinion of the safe and secure. A beating is proper for those who stumble."
That is nothing like this.
So hold on. I got a verse. Hold on, I got a verse 5 for you. The smug man's thought scorns disaster, readied for those who stumble.
This is the worst Confucian text.
I told you guys, this text is a mess.
Yeah, I could tell that. Should I maybe write that down? I want to read a little bit more about, what manuscripts there are for this.
Yeah.
So that was 12:5?
Yes.
Yeah.
But now, the beasts, and they shall... But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee.
Hold on. Actually, one thing before you continue. For verse 6, yours says the tabernacles. And
Yes, the tabernacles of robbers prosper.
Right. Mine says tents, but it also, at least in older translation, it says the tents of despoilers are tranquil, provokers of El are secure, whom God has led by the hand. So El is there.
Yes. Mine just says God.
Sure, I get that.
And
Just
now
saying.
we're supposed to talk to animals. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee. And the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. Who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this?
Okay, real quick.
Yes.
This is the one and only time that the Tetragrammaton is ever used in the dialogue. In the body of the dialogue. This is the only time.
That's really interesting that it's the only time.
Yeah.
I am fairly certain that Gordis's explanation was that it was an accidental slip from the poet that was writing. He argues that it was likely because he was including basically a phrase that was rather reminiscent of 2nd Isaiah 41:20, and also in Isaiah 66:2, which have somewhat similar language. I argue that it could also just be an interpolation, that there could have possibly been a different deity name there that was not so friendly to them.
It would be kind of strange for them to change it to. I mean, it makes perfect sense why they would change it to the Tetragrammaton, but why? But it also doesn't at the same time because it's surrounded by things that aren't that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a mess, needless to say.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And real quick, just to so Kirby said in the chat, I'm willing to bet these chapters we've been covering today are older than the first two, since there's a lot of references to Canaanite myth and cosmology. And yes, there are arguments all about that. Funnily enough, though, Nahum Sarna, as we covered in the first stream on Job, he actually argued the converse based on the fact that the prologue and the epilogue, when taken together, actually have the styling of an epic narrative, and with many similarities to Ugaritic narratives. So we don't know.
I feel like that would be kind of hard to demonstrate because it wouldn't be that long.
No. I think that really all these references and everything, I don't think we can really make anything of them date-wise.
Yeah. In whose hand is the soul of every living thing and the breath of all mankind? Doth not the ear try words, and the mouth taste his meat? With the ancient is wisdom, and in length of days understanding. With him is wisdom and strength, he hath counsel and understanding. Behold!
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 He breaketh down, and it cannot be built again. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. Behold!
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 He withholdeth the waters, and they dry up. Also he sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. He leadeth counselors away spoiled.
So just a quick question here. Verse 15. Is that in any way related to the flood narrative?
That is my theory. Let me see what Gordis has on this.
Yeah, because all Alter has is as Job sees it, God's power over creation is exerted chiefly in acts of destruction. You know, that's not that far from the truth. The voice from the whirlwind will provide a strong rejoinder to this view.
Yeah. This is also very much, as Gordis points out, it's actually in juxtaposition with the way that Eliphaz uses the rains as a reverence for Yahweh.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Here it's used as a destructive power.
Right. Interesting.
Yes. He leadeth counselors away spoiled, and maketh the judges fools. He looseth the bond of kings, and girdeth their loins with a girdle. He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty. He removeth away the speech of the trusty, and taketh away the understanding of the aged. He poureth contempt upon princes, and weakeneth the strength of the mighty. He discovereth deep things out of darkness, and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. He increaseth the nations, and destroyeth them. He enlargeth the nations, and straiteneth them again. He taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth, and causeth them to wander in wilderness where there is no way. They grope in the dark without light, and he maketh them to stagger like a drunken man. And that's the end of chapter 12.
Can't believe they're hating on drunk guys. Attacking me like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we can continue to chapter 13. Guys, if you're enjoying the stream,
Give us a like.
Yeah, give us a like. Subscribe if you haven't. For everyone new to the channel, because I'm sure we're still gaining.
Super chat donations.
Yeah, super chat.
Amazon wish list.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to that. All links in the description.
Yeah.
But let's hop right into chapter 13. Here is this translation that is far superior to the
much
KJV.
better.
Yeah. Behold!
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 My eye has seen all this. This is still Job, by the way. My eye has seen all this. My ear has heard and understood it. What you know, I also know. I am not inferior to you, but I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to argue my case with God, just as has been done in the past. At least in the...
Alter says dispute instead of argue.
Sure.
He says the Hebrew verb, which can also mean reprove, here has legal connotations. And language expressing Job's desire to confront God in a court of law recurs through this chapter.
Good old legal stuff. As for you, you whitewash with lies. Worthless physicians are you all.
Ugh.
Oh, that you would keep silent, and it would be your wisdom.
I'd just like to point out that instead of worthless physicians,
Yeah.
this one says quack healers.
I like that. I like quack healers.
Yeah.
Hear now my argument, and listen to the pleadings of my lips. Will you speak falsely for God and speak deceitfully for him? So he's still he's still acting very piously, even though he just got done talking about how God just pretty much wants to see him suffer. Interesting. Will you plead partially toward him? Will you plead the case for God? Will it be well with you when he searches you out? Or can you deceive him as one deceives a man? He will surely rebuke you if in secret you show partiality. Will not his majesty terrify you, and the dread of him fall upon you? Your maxims are proverbs of ashes. Your defenses are defenses of clay.
Mine says your word piles of clay. All translations of the obscure Hebrew are conjectural. The construction here links gabay with the rabbinic gibov, heap or pile, and adds word interpretively.
What are your thoughts on that, Chris, if you have any, or any notes?
What verse?
13:12.
Yeah, let me see.
Hopefully there's something in that big, beautiful book of yours.
Yeah, he doesn't really say much about it. He notes that what's going to end up happening with it is that some of it is it's going to set up just how trash all of their arguments are coming forward as well.
Gotcha.
But other than that, he just has a few grammatical notes on it, but nothing about interpolation.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting, because you'd figure with I don't know, it just seems very. Well, I mean, this is very poetic, but like this one is obviously more so than a lot of the other stuff we've read. This one verse, Proverbs of Ashes. Yeah. Anyways, let me have silence, and I will speak, and let come on. Hold on. Let me have silence, and I will speak, and let come on me what may. That phrasing, guys.
Yeah, mine's phrased much better.
Okay, what is
Be
it?
silent before me, I would speak no matter what befalls me.
That's way better. Why should I take my flesh in my teeth and put my life in my hand? Though he slay me, I will hope in him. Yet I will argue my ways to his face. This will be my salvation.
Yours says, I have hope in him.
I will have hope in him.
This says, look, he slays me, I have no hope.
Yeah, there's also a note here that says, or, behold, he slay me, I have no hope.
It says here, the intended sense of this famous line is ambiguous. This translation follows the consonantal received text, ketiv. The
Sure.
marginal correction carry changes low note to low for him, yielding, though he slay me, I will hope for him. Others, without much warrant, understand the verb yahel, or yael, or something like that, as though it were a phonetically similar verb, hul, and translate, though he slay me, I will not quake.
Yeah, there seem to be some exact opposite possibilities
Yes.
for what this says. This will be my salvation, that the godless shall not come before him. Keep listening to my words, and let my declaration be in your ears. Behold!
Behold!
Behold,
I have prepared my case. I know that I shall be in the right. Who is there who will contend with me? For then I would be silent and die. Only grant me two things. Then I will not hide myself from your face. Withdraw your hand far from me, and let not dread of you terrify me. Then call, and I will
Okay.
answer. What's up?
just a note on 18 and 19. Gordis translates it as, now if I could present my case, I know that I would be vindicated. But if God says, who dares to argue with me, then I must perish in silence.
See,
So basically,
that sounds like
this translation would have God being set up as an authoritarian dictator, basically.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that also kind of sounds like can you read your verse 19 again? Whoever you just read from.
But if God says, who dares to argue with me, then I must perish in silence.
Ah, okay.
Yes, very authoritarian.
Yeah, so yeah, this is obviously very different because who is there who will contend with me? For then I would be silent and die.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel like it makes more sense with the God thing.
Yeah.
So anyways, then call and I will answer, or let me speak and you reply to me. How many are my iniquities and my sins? Make me known my transgression and my sin. Why do you hide your face and count me as your enemy? Will you frighten a driven leaf and pursue dry chaff? I think. For you write bitter things against me, and make me inherit the iniquities of my youth. You put my feet in the stocks and watch all my paths. You set a limit for the soles of my feet. Man wastes away like a rotten thing, like a garment that is moth-eaten.
That is in chapter 14 in Alter's version.
Is it? Okay. I think I probably have that note in here.
Before here, he makes a note about, I think it's 27. It says, these are three discrete metaphors. If the feet are in stocks, logically there is no need to watch after the paths of the supposed miscreant, though they are all related as images of imprisonment or surveillance. And all three figures of speech are associated with feet, the middle image, because in biblical idiom it is always feet that go on paths. It is likely that the marking of the soles of the feet refers to some sort of branding or tattooing that would be an indelible sign that the person is a felon.
Well, that is interesting.
Yep.
All right, that is the end of chapter 13. We got one more chapter left, and we will pass that over to our local Job expert. This is chapter 14 coming up. Job is still talking. And if you guys are enjoying the show, please make sure to drop a like. It has been a long show, 2 hours and 5 minutes so far. But you know what? I think it's been pretty good.
Yes.
We've had a lot of great commentary. We've had a great time here tonight. So, share it around with all your exes.
Yeah, that again.
Because that's who is important here. Your ex-boyfriends and girlfriends and non-binary exes as well. So, Chris, we'll pass it off to you then.
Man who is born of woman is few in days and sated with turmoil. Like a flower, he comes forth and withers. He flees like a shadow and does not endure. Is it upon such a one that you open your eyes and summon to judgment with you? Men say, who can distinguish the pure from the impure? No one. But you, God, can and should. For indeed, man's days are determined, and the number of months you have set the limits he cannot pass. Turn away from him, let him alone until he is complete, like a hireling his day. For there is hope for a tree. If it be cut down, it can sprout again, and its shoots will not fail. If its roots grow old in the earth, and its stump dies in the ground at the mere scent of water, it will bud anew and put forth branches like a young plant. But man grows faint and dies, and breathes his last, and where is he? As water vanishes from a lake, and a river is parched and dries up, so man lies down and rises not again. Till the heavens are no more, he will not awake, nor will he be aroused from his sleep. Oh, if you would hide me in Sheol, conceal me until your wrath is spent, set a fixed time for me, and then remember me.
Hold on. One quick thing here, quick question. So about that you would conceal me until your wrath be past. So is that a reference to any kind of punishment in Sheol, or is that a reference to stuff happening outside and he's just waiting till it's done?
Alter says Job is surely not talking about survival after death, but rather, as elsewhere in biblical poetry, he invokes Sheol as a deep, dark cavern below the ground where one might hide.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with Alter there.
Okay.
If a man die, can he live again? All the days of my service I would wait till my hour of release should come. You would call and I would answer you, for you would be longing for the work of your hands. And then you would number my steps. You would not keep watch over my sin. You would seal up my transgression in a bag, and you would cover over my iniquity. But as a mountain falls and crumbles, and a rock is moved from its place, as waters wear away stones, and a torrent washes away the earth's soil, so you destroy man's hope. You overpower him forever, and he departs. You change his visage and send him off. His sons may grow great, but he will never know it, or they may be humbled, but he will be unaware of it. Indeed, his flesh is pained within him, and his spirit is in mourning.
On that last bit there, the altar commentary says, in order to concretize the awful bleakness of death, the poet uses what might be a poetic conceit or perhaps a trace of a folk belief. The newly dead, his flesh turned rigid and then quickly the object of decay, experiences a kind of after-image of life that is nothing but pain. In any event, the idea is clear that the dead man knows nothing of the fate of the offspring in whom he invested so many expectations, but is instead locked into the anguish of his own physical extinction.
Oh shit, son. Alright, so that is the... I'm just quickly looking in here for anything important. But that is the end of chapter 14, and that is the end of the reading for the day.
Yes.
Yeah, so quite the long reading, quite the long episode.
Yeah, over 2 hours.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot, though.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we would be absolutely nowhere without Chris. Let's just be honest. Both of them, in this case. You're welcome. Thanks.
Yeah, you finally got a credit.
A single credit. So, what do we say at the end of this show?
We will see you.
No, not yet. If you guys enjoyed the stream, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter. We have an Amazon wish list. We got a lot of books on there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get us some books, we will read through them, and we will probably make a video that does use that book as a source.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and there's a behold count.
Oh yeah, behold. What's the behold count? Tell us.
Pretty high today. It's 10.
10
10
beholds.
beholds.
Very healthy.
That's good.
Healthy amount. I'm gonna move it down
I
to
like
more
that.
visible location here in the
So,
over again.
anyways, what else? MilwaukeeAtheist.com and our Patreon.
You know, there's all these different rewards you can get from our Patreon,
Yeah.
but
All
one
patrons?
of the best things that you can get is to be a guest on our show,
Yeah.
Atheist Sunday School, wherein you can read with us and provide your opinions and commentary.
Yeah. That's at the very top tier. And there's a limited amount of slots.
Yeah.
And although when we start our second weekly show,
Yes.
which will probably be on a Friday,
Yeah.
we'll have some more slots.
Yeah.
So what else? Yeah, so on Patreon as well, every patron gets access to all of our video scripts. And yeah, so some of the big ones, $5 and up, you get all the books that we publish.
Yep. Self-published.
Yeah, because right now it's just one, but I'm still writing a good amount of stuff.
You also, at $10 and up, get
Entry into the t-shirt.
T-shirt giveaway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$20 and up, it's a free entry into any conferences or events that we'll hold in the future, and
if you give
and
us...
also being part of our hangouts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you give us $10,000 a month...
Oh yeah, this one. We haven't said this
will
one in a while.
personally, well, at least one of us, come out and shake your hand.
I'll give you a high five.
Or a high five. It was a high five.
It's got to be a high five.
It's gotta
Yeah.
be within the continental
United States.
Gotta be within the continental United States.
Yeah.
No.
Otherwise, it's just not worth it. So, thank you everyone for joining us. Chris, thank you for being so helpful again with this. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Uh,
And with that being said, We will see you next Sunday.